So it would have been my great uncles, my great aunts, my uncles and my aunts. Not a single one of them survived Auschwitz.
Standing up to hatred. How can we take the Holocaust topic and make a film out of it to change the way people think about racism and prejudice today?
I think you need to understand that the people in those camps were wearing flimsy uniforms and often no shoes. So it gives you a feel for the suffering of those people. So that's what you need to understand. It's going to be very cold. It's going to be very emotional.
You know, it's going to be a very traumatic experience, I think, for some people.
We're going to a concentration camp, a death camp. How are you going to use the lessons of the past to shape the future?
My teacher said that we could do this thing where we all went down to like just t-shirts to know how cold it was, like for the people that obviously went there, so we could like film that kind of thing.
Probably not going to change what's going to happen in Gaza, but we can change what's going to happen in Thurrock, in your school, in your neighbourhood, you know, where you live.
We're going to discuss the impact on the whole experience. We're going to go the trip and our reactions and how it affects us and the people around us.
And I want to gain a deeper understanding of how concentration camps affected the course of the war and how they've affected society nowadays.
When we get back from the trip, we're going to do like Year 9 lessons in our school, and then we're going to talk about our experiences and what we felt.
I wanted to go because I thought it'd be a good experience, because I've always enjoyed history and it interests me a lot.
Because I feel they could learn more, younger years, through our experiences than they could through any form of textbook.
But it's also a special experience that not many people will have.
I don't know what to expect.
And it's actually going to change my life when I come back, I think.
And when I go, I just want to see how close I can get to that feeling that them people in the camps got.
And I know that I've got Polish family, and my great uncle and his cousins were all killed at Auschwitz.
I hope it makes me think and feel grateful for what I've got.
I think that I'm like really privileged to have like the chance to be able to like go on a once in a lifetime trip.
I'm going to realise how bad it was, but at the same time I'll realise how lucky we are not to be in that situation.
Remembering those people that suffered and died, and knowing that because of them we are who we are today, and working together, especially here in Thurrock, we can have community cohesion.
But maybe what it will do is make people more aware, bring it to the forefront, get people talking. And if we can change, each of us change 1-2 people's point of view, then it's been a huge success. We'll feel more comfortable in challenging different behaviours that we will now see, or that will be seen as unacceptable.
What I hope comes out of this trip will be some children from Thurrock who can explain their feelings as to the true nature and the experiences of those people who suffered in the death camps.
As far as the timing is concerned, we should have you on the ground in about an hour and 10 minutes.
We plan to visit Auschwitz-Birkenau Museum this afternoon. On the way you will see signs Auschwitz. Auschwitz, there is the name of the town. And later on, closer to the town, you will see the sign Auschwitz. Auschwitz, there is the German name previously of the town and then of the camp. Because when the Second World War started, this part of Poland was incorporated into the Third Reich, and all names were changed. So instead Auschwitz, they used Auschwitz. The brick barracks were already there. There were several brick barracks which belonged to the Polish army. It was the army place. When the war started, Polish army left and the place was abandoned, so very easy to start with the camp. By the way, these barracks, the part, remembers the First World War. So Nazis did not have to do anything, just to rearrange the area and to put the sign above the main gate, Arbeit macht frei, or work makes freedom. Auschwitz, it meant free main parts, Auschwitz 1, 2 and 3, or Auschwitz-Birkenau and Monowitz, plus 40 sub-camps. The area over 40 square kilometers was controlled by the camp. So on that area, those sub-camps were installed, were functioning, open by the factories, mines, factories, all kind of factories. So actually, Auschwitz, it was the project. It wasn't just the place to kill people. First of all, they were exploited, and then they were murdered, except the certain time in 1944, where in between May and August 1944, the biggest crime was committed there. Close 400,000 Hungarian Jews were murdered there in Birkenau. So the Auschwitz camp was liberated by Soviets in January. So actually we are coming January. It was the end of January, 28th of January 1945. We will visit Auschwitz 1 first. There is the museum with documents, material proofs of crime committed there, pictures, and then we'll drive 3 kilometers to Birkenau, which very often is mentioned as the death camp, the place when the crematoria were, and gas chambers, which is almost empty. Auschwitz today is the label of genocide. Auschwitz is always mentioned when we are talking about mass murdering. Auschwitz is the biggest place talking about the area and about the number of victims. Today we said approximately 1.5 million victims, 90% Jews, then Poles, Russians and the others, according statistics. But there were many other camps like Treblinka, Majdanek, Sobibor, Bełżec and so on, where people were dying as well. But as I said, because there's the biggest ever organized place, so we are talking mostly about Auschwitz.
You know, we're all going to learn from, and I think it's going to change us. And I think what's going to be interesting is to see everybody else's reactions and how they feel, and then what are they going to take from this, and then use it when we go back to Thurrock. But yeah, to understand the atrocities and to understand what people went through when our lives are filled up with Nike trainers and Facebook and the next Nokia, and these people just had pyjamas on it in the freezing cold, and we're just living to survive.
And being a history teacher and knowing what I know about the Holocaust, at the minute I'm a bit nervous about what I feel when I get to the camp, to be honest. I expect to feel sad, but I don't. In a way, I'll be disappointed if I just feel sad. Does that make sense?
It was exactly ordered to put the cynical motto at the gate, Arbeit macht frei, work brings freedom. The camp was surrounded by the barbed wire. In this wooden barrack, there was the camp manager's office, censor's office, new arrivals registering office. There were 22 toilets for 700 people. It was not enough. German soldiers lived outside the camp. They lived in Polish, beautiful houses, together with families, with children, with private life at home. About 7,000 German soldiers stood on duty in Auschwitz, but only 1,000 of them were tried. A part of them got capital punishment. Some of them still live in Germany, the United States, Argentina. The camp Auschwitz had two functions at the same time: concentration camp and extermination camp for Jews. During conference in Wannsee, the Nazis planned the killing of about 11 million of European Jews. Most of them lived in Poland. 3 million Jews lived in Poland, 5 million in Russia, 330,000 Jews lived in England. Killing of them was planned. There was no transport Jews from England to Auschwitz because England wasn't an occupied country. 20,000 gypsies, 25,000 civilian people were delivered to the camp from different countries. And the prisoners who were registered in this camp died of hunger, exhaustion, epidemics, dirty. Only a part of them, 200,000, survived. Since 1942, the camp Auschwitz became the extermination camp for Jews. But the Jews who were delivered to the camp Auschwitz were as a rule selected. The young, the healthy Jews were sent to work, but most of them, mothers and children, ill people, pregnant women, were killed at once. They were not registered in the camp. That's why it's difficult to say the exact number of victims in Auschwitz. And the number of victims in Auschwitz was settled according to documents, according to transport list after the war. In Auschwitz-Birkenau, 1,500,000 people were killed. Most of them, 90% of them, were Jews. Human ashes from Birkenau, it is symbol cemetery now. Ashes were dropped into rivers on the fields, were destroyed because there were evidence of the mass killing of the Jews.
And winter, it smells like that.
When they were saying about criminal and political, like when they're all going to await the same fate anyway.
And now you have some imagination of living conditions of the prisoners in Birkenau. You understand why the prisoners called Auschwitz-1 hotel in comparison to this part. Before camp liberation, over 100,000 prisoners were evacuated to different camps to work to Germany. Evacuation was the death march. Prisoners had to go 30 kilometers on foot in each day. Camp Auschwitz-Birkenau was liberated on the 27th January 1945 by Russian army. There were found here about 7,000 people. Some of them died after the war of exhaustion. During Second War, about 15 million people were killed, 6 million from Poland. Auschwitz, symbol of genocide, Holocaust, it's not only historical fact, but the great moral problem of our times.
It was all the way that they were treated and how many of them were treated that way and were killed, and it was just shocking.
I was upset and I didn't feel sorry for him.
Just the fact that don't take life for granted the way you always do. Even to like little things like a hairbrush. They just took them away because they had no hair because they shaved it all off. It's just really horrible.
I think I'm going to take away the image of like when like the death wall and the hangings, because when you actually feel like the people are actually there, and you actually know that like people have actually like taken their last breath and like know like before they actually suffer, you know, before they're strangled to death or before they're shot, and like you can actually like hear the sounds in your head, and you can actually like feel what they felt.
One thing that shocked me was the sheer scale of it. You know, and that one person boiled down to a category, and in some cases just a pair of shoes.
Because a lot of my family was sort of killed in the Holocaust, like great-grandparents and stuff. And like, God, just sort of the family that I've got, sort of like appreciate more. Because seeing that and I think about that happening to them, it's just horrible.
I wrote down emotional, thankful for like what I have, and I think shocked as well. You know the wall where they got shot at, and just like when Dave said it was the last walk that they had, and then the wall was right in front of you. That's what really got to me, and the pictures you saw as well.
Before we left Birkenau, we were going back to the hotel, and I thought having a shower or going to sleep in a bed almost seems like wrong after going somewhere like that. I knew I was freezing, but I carried on wearing just the 2 layers in the coat because I thought, you know, they would have gone through much worse than this. And it's just, if I was to wear only 2 layers in the coat, at least it kind of clears my conscience, and I feel as if I've taken part in something there a bit more.
Actual people's hair, I mean, it was their hair and it's just laying there in front of you. I mean, I just looked at it, I was like nearly in tears. Just looking, I don't know why, I just broke down in front of it, just looking at the hair.
I didn't know like they actually used it to make stuff, and it was just, yeah, it's creepy. Yeah, it made me get my eyes teary, and it was really like, you know, I was imagining my hair being there like.
So when they got there, they were locked in, and then they were just filled with gas, and everything got killed. They killed them. I think that's what shocked me most.
Like, how could they sleep in stuff like in a place like that? It's awful.
We can maybe start to get a message across and say why this is wrong and why we shouldn't do this.
Oh, it was definitely the gas chambers, like where they burned all the people, where you just saw it and you saw like how small it was, and then and the roof as well, like we said, that all the like soot, and that was people's ashes, and it was really, really just like really distressing to know that there's like dead people in there, and like, you know, that's how they treated people, and that was how they died, and that's how they got rid of them and everything. It's just so horrid.